The NBA trade deadline has come and gone, and Adam and I are here to. Everyone, every other podcast has talked about every trade and everything, but what we wanted to do was how have these trades looked so far on these new teams? How have these new players looked in their new uniforms? We'll kind of get into that a little bit here. We're also going to talk about everyone's favorite topic in mid-February in the NBA, All-Star Weekend, and whether you like it or not. I'm gonna give you a hint about where Adam and I lean. Not. And then also, Adam spent a weekend last weekend seeing just various different levels of basketball, and we wanted to kind of go over the differences, but also just give Adam the floor to kind of go over what he noticed in the games that he was at. And then this is going to be the last podcast we have for a week and a half until Adam and I record for the first time in person. Where Adam and his brother do their 8 games in 7 days trip, which we are excited to talk about. But before we get going, here are our friends from Green Top. Um, I think it is one of my favorite times of the year because I'm a slut for trades. But the trade deadline has come and gone, unfortunately for me. But fortunately for me, that there's a lot more basketball to watch. And I think there's a lot to be excited about what the last third of the season looks like. There's some things to be annoyed about as well. I don't know if we're going to talk about that. We might. But one of the things we wanted to talk about today was these new players in new places, the new guys on their new teams, and mostly just go over what has been impressive or like surprising so far from these new places, new faces in new places. So, uh, Adam, what has been like one of the bigger shocking or more bigger revelations that you've seen from any of these guys on new teams?
Oh man, the fit of Trey Young and Anthony Davis in Washington. Wow, that turned into such an awesome team. Oh, wait. Never mind. Not playing and will not play. So
Right.
yeah, some of these guys I have not. I mean, I've just seen the clips and highlights and stuff of some of these games. Like I have not watched a full, Wizards game since this happened. So that's not
Sure.
that's not gonna happen. I loved the idea of Io DeSunu to the Timberwolves. And the first game I thought he struggled a little bit, but I thought he looked much better in the second game. And they actually
Yeah.
looked better as a team in that second game. Also looks awesome in those throwback jerseys. I just think like, oh,
Yeah.
that just fit perfectly. Like it just looks right. Conversely, Bones Highland wearing number 8 in those jerseys, I don't like because that's what Latrell Sprewell wore, and that's like what is imprinted in my mind. It'd be like if one of those guys was wearing number 21. It's like no, like that needs to be KG in that jersey. Like that doesn't look right to have somebody not named Latrell Sprewell wearing 8 in that jersey. But
Right.
anyway, Vucevic and Simons obviously was a bit of a strange one for multiple reasons. Obviously, like
Mm-hmm.
Simons was playing really well for your Celtics, and
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
he obviously is more expensive, and I know there's some money involved there. It didn't really on a basketball level, it didn't really make sense for either team. And I'm just confused by that one. You've probably watched obviously more Celtics than I have since it's happened. What have you seen so far with that one?
Game one, Vucevic looked pretty prepared. Now, to be said, also the Celtics are playing the Bulls tonight.
I was gonna say,
In
aren't they playing? Yeah.
they played each other. Boston won by 20 tonight, and Vooch dropped 19 and 11. So was a pretty good game. I couldn't watch it because I'm in Chicago, and damn NBA League Pass for not letting me watch that. Um, on the other side of things, Simons also only had 7. So it's like, weird. But no, I understand from the Boston perspective of like, look at the teams that are leaders in the East. The Knicks can go big with any of their lineups. The Pistons can go big. So can the Cavs, Raptors. All these teams have like options to go big. Now, I think the people can be like, oh, well, what if Tatum comes back? You guys play pretty big whenever Tatum's back. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I think also the Celtics are at their best when they do have a stretch 5 out there as an option. But I think uh, what we've seen so well from Keita this year makes so much sense. I don't love the dual Garza and Keita starting lineup, but that's what I'm being dealt with. And I understand Pritchard having to come off the bench because we now have a lack of guards due to the trade of Simons. Um, but I'm hoping that there's some sort of waiver wire pickup or some sort of buyout guy. And it's one of those scenarios where a buyout guy might actually be important to Boston. It's one of the rare times that like a top tier playoff team could actually use a buyout guy. Just not sure which one we'll go after. But in the long run, Simons has looked great in his first two games outside of tonight. And then Vooch looked good in game one. I wanted to throw buckets at a wall during game two when we were playing the Knicks because I was like, this isn't going to work. I just knew it wasn't going to work. I felt like we needed to play Kata more. But we just stuck it out with Vooch. And so I get annoyed by that. But I agree with you about Io. The other one I want to talk about, and I know, listen, we can go on a tangent about this team later on, but I like a lot what Jaren Jackson is doing in Utah. I don't know if you've watched any of their games. I know you've probably been annoyed if you have watched any of their games because they stopped playing their starters after the third quarter, but not breaking any rules, so I can't be mad at them for that. I can be mad at them for the fact that they're doing it. But what Jackson and Markkanen are doing together is pretty impressive with Keontae George in the mix, and then whenever Kessler comes back, could be interesting. I am concerned about what the starting lineup would be because I don't think Markkanen should ever be a small forward ever again, but like as a primary position. But that's a team that could be very interesting. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say next year, but there's still a lot of fun in the first three quarters of the games that they're playing.
Yeah, and we don't need to do. I mean, we should have a larger tanking conversation at some point. And again, no fault of the Jazz; they're doing what they're supposed to. The structure is what sucks. So that's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not blaming the team. The structure is brutal. Yeah. Okay. So what about some of these? I mean, the Bulls. I mean, what in the world? I'm
I
confused.
forgot 9 guards was necessary. So
Yeah.
they took all the guard. Like I wanted, if the Boston Celtics were trading away everything, we could have used like Tyus Jones. Like what was wrong with that? Like could we have gotten like Tyus Jones like for nothing? Seriously, we could have used a backup guard. Um, yeah, I don't know what. It's clear to me that Chicago is trying to run a college offense and just saying, how fast can we run and play us and shoot, but we will not rebound. Or I was talking to Aaron about this. I wonder if it's them just trying to force Buzelis to be a better rebounder and a better like post defender. I wonder if that's just what their hope is for this scenario. Not sure how that's going to work out though.
I mean that's possible, but like that's just not his long term like
No,
position. I just it's so confusing. I mean, yeah, they're just a classic like treading water, like these swaps of like Colin Sexton in and these picks, these second round picks in for Kobe White. It's like that's kind of just a lateral move. I mean, it's like I don't really, oh cool, you added some second round picks. I don't know, man. I just don't understand what they're doing in the roster construction. And then like the guy who's the best like creator and like transition force in their team, who's like the size of a three but needs the ball, is Josh Giddey. So it's like, well,
mm-hmm.
like where does he fit in now? And like, is that I don't know. I just it's very strange. And then they obviously trade for Yabusele as well. Got rid of Dalen Terry for that. And so I mean, look, he'll play some and already has played a bit more than he's playing in New York. So that is the only guy I think the Spurs like had a little bit of interest in that that didn't happen. And then we learned today that the Spurs waive Jeremy Sohan. So we'll see kind of where he lands. I don't know. A bunch of these moves are pretty like low impact. I mean, just kind of, shuffling the deck chairs. Like there's not really like impact moves, except like the Jaren Jackson to Utah, where it's like, oh, okay, like
It's
that's
a
a team that
move for next year.
like gained a lot of talent in that trade.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you're playing for next year, but it's like for Utah, it's like, okay, I know I can't sign a guy like that in the
Yeah,
offseason, so I have to trade for a guy like that.
yeah,
Um,
I liked it for Utah.
I did too. I I am coming around more to CJ McCollum in Atlanta. They lost tonight to Charlotte. I'm coming around to it a little bit more. But I am thinking thinking ahead. I am curious as to I mean, I also like the Herder trade to Detroit just because they needed another shooter. Um, although
I
I
was
just
hoping
feel
for more. Was hoping for more from Detroit.
correct. That's the thing, and I have three Detroit guys that I can talk to about this, and they've all said the same thing. They're like, either we should have done a win now trade, like go get someone big, or do nothing. And I think that's what they're pissed off is like Ivy wasn't like worth Herder, and so it's to them now. In my eyes, as the objective third party, I haven't seen a lot out of Ivy this year, and I feel like I put a lot of my like trade ideas. I put him in them because I'm like, okay, for someone it could be a risky upside pick. For Detroit, it's like, okay, we're trying to do something real here this year, and you haven't filled the role, so we need to have someone do that. I get their mindset, Detroit. I also understand the mindset of the fans because you want to have this like hopeful upside thought, but we haven't seen it from Ivy. But Ivy again gets put on this team now with 17 guards, and we're like, what are we going to get out of him now? So,
Yeah,
um,
it's a weird. That's just yeah. Is that the place for him to like really thrive? Like it doesn't really seem like it. And I think with the Ivy thing, that's another one of those like draft anchor things where it's like we spent such a high pick on him, like we should be able to get more. It's like nah, man, judge what's actually happening on the court, and it's like
mhm.
he's not been good. I mean, so player for player, like that does improve their team because his skills kind of overlap with Cade's anyway a little bit. So Herter provides a bigger like juice to their offense this year than
Yep.
Jaden Ivey would. But I know from a Detroit fan's perspective, they're probably looking at that like I mean, the same way I am with Jeremy Sohan, where it's like, man, we spent a high pick on this guy, and this is kind of this is all that happened. I mean, the Spurs just waived him. I mean, it's just done. I mean, the Spurs have 2 lottery picks in the last 4 years that they just released. That's not good. That's bad management. Obviously, one there's a little bit of
One was worth
controversy.
it though. One
Yes,
was necessary. Josh Primo
yes,
was necessary.
yes, for sure. But it still is just not great. It's just not a great track record. And then obviously they knock it out of the park 3 drafts in a row. So
I was gonna say, all right, well, listen, you could have two of whatever, how many lottery picks you've had. You've also then had Harper, Castle, and Wemby. I feel like
pretty
you
sure.
should.
Yeah, I shouldn't complain. Yeah.
Uh,
I am
there's
seeing one name I want to shout out, which I have no idea if he'll ever play in the NBA, but in the Eric Gordon dump trade, which Memphis gets Eric
oh
Gordon from Philly, Philly gets a 2032 second round pick swap, which is just like the fakest of fake, like just nothing,
yeah,
part of a trade. And then the draft rights to Justinian Jessup, who plays for Bayern Munich and is a sniper. I have no idea if he's NBA ready or can like actually play in the league, but the dude can really shoot it. And it's obviously just a fun name, Justinian Jessup. So we'll
I mean,
see if he ever comes over.
what nationality is he?
Oh shoot, I should have had that ready. He plays for
Come
Bayern. I
on,
don't. I don't think he's
I don't
German
think
though.
he. Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say.
he's actually American.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Okay, so he's one of those American guys who just went over and played it overseas. Interesting.
yeah. Where did he
No,
play? Yeah, he's from Colorado. Played at Longmont in high school, and then Boise State for college.
gosh, you know what the greatest news of the trade deadline though was, Adam?
What's that?
The great trade that didn't happen in Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes. Well, is that great? Because now we have to deal with it for another however many months. Just like, will it happen or will it not? I don't know.
I should have been more sarcastic with my tone because yes, that was so annoying because
Okay. Okay. Good.
we had this all led up to this moment of like, holy crap, it's gonna finally happen. Maybe it's gonna happen, and then it just wish wash back and forth of it happening, and then he posts his whole Wolf of Wall Street thing on
Yeah.
Twitter, and then it's just so annoying. And my wife, I had to explain it to my wife, like she's like, "What does this mean?" Because she's never seen Wolf of Wall Street. That's another thing for another time. I don't know. Real quick, would you show your significant other who's a female that movie if they've never seen that movie before?
Yeah, I would say like, oh, just a heads up, like this is, like quite debaucherous, like just,
Yeah,
like you need to know that going in, so it's not like a surprise because yeah, that movie's pretty nuts. I mean, it's hilarious and it's an amazing performance from Leo and Jonah Hill, but yeah, it'd be like one of those I need to warn, hey, just a heads up,
yeah. Not
there's
only the
some
warning on the
scenes,
screen and not only the warning on the screen in the top left corner telling you why it's rated R, but you also
right?
just need the verbal warning from someone else.
Yes, yes,
Um, but no, it was just one of those moments where I didn't understand it at all. When it came to, I didn't understand at all why there was just so much less clarity about the situation in Milwaukee with him, and whether or not it's more less clear in his head whether or not what he wants to do. Maybe the Cam Thomas pickup is just massive for him, and maybe that just
I mean,
changes his mind as they pick him up. He had a
they won
pretty good
tonight,
night.
and he had 34. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was like, man, down Ryan Rollins. Who comes to the rescue? But Cam Thomas in his
Yeah.
first game in a Bucks uniform. So
But
there's
the
just a
first
lot.
time when they're playing together, and the first time Cam Thomas does one of his like dribble a million times, shoot over two guys thing, and Giannis is open, like Giannis might kill him. I mean, I just like I just don't, I don't know. That's a bad combo, but hey, maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see. I mean, yeah, Cam Thomas just totally monopolizes the offense when he has the ball. So that's tough. It's tough to see.
Absolutely agree. Anything else on the deadline, Adam?
I want to watch more of the Harden and Garland, trade. I think that's gonna be
Oh,
interesting.
right.
Let's yeah, Harden's obviously a big one. Tyus Jones, you mentioned earlier, I think he's just done. I just don't think he's got anything left
Oh,
in the
yeah.
tank. Trey Jones, on the other hand, I think could have really helped the team, and it seems like Chicago is just like, oh, we don't need him because we're gonna get all these other guards. But I mean, that's a guy, I don't know, I feel like it could help somebody. Yeah, I mean, scrolling through this, I mean, the Dennis Schroeder deal, where he gets like to go to like a real team, I like that. He'll be in the playoffs, like he's a playoff performer. Yeah, and Keon Ellis too. I actually like that for Cleveland.
Cleveland ending up with 3 more guards, trading away Garland, crazy. Um, and I like it for LA just because you're getting younger in the sense, but you just need to make sure that you get Garland healthy in the right way and get him in the correct shoes, which apparently that's a whole thing that he's just like hurting both of your feet in these like brand of shoes, and apparently that's been a big deal. I don't know if you heard that like Cleveland organization had an argument with his agent and told him to break like the agreement with his shoe brand because they didn't want him to be injured as much anymore.
Very very Grant Hill and Fila of them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh, McCain. What about McCain? Last one.
Oh, McCain was a good value pick because I think you can sign him to some sort of extension for such a cheap deal. Now he's got like what, a year or two before that even kicks in.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at this
I thought
point,
this
you're
was
like,
really smart, honestly, from OKC.
I thought it was bold from Philly just to even like give him away for just such the price that they gave him away from. Now you're opening the door to say, hey, Edgecombe, you're the guy now. I mean, not that he wasn't, but it's like we're trusting in you now. There is no like maybe it's behind the scenes. There was some worry of like, okay, if McCain starts playing well, what happens to Edgecombe? I really don't understand why there would have been. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate at this point of like,
Yeah, yeah.
was there a mental game of like there's 4 guards between McCain, Edgecombe, Maxey, and Grimes.
Yeah.
I mean, all 4 of them like to have the ball in their hands, and all 4 of them think they're the guy. Unfortunately, one of them's the guy, and his name's Tyrese Maxey. But Edgecombe has played
And you're
so well this year.
probably
He
only
deserves
finishing the game with 2 of those guys on the floor.
right until Paul George comes back from whatever drug he had. Maybe 3 of them. But either way, I agree with you. You can't have all 4 of them on the floor at the same time at the closeout games. And so I understand the thought process for them. Like, okay, Grimes is a cheap deal. We can keep him and keep playing as well as we are, and not have to worry about like paying McCain later on when he's probably going to want a lot of money. However, OKC's taking the risk of like, okay, we'll take him for a few years. We could use a second.
Yeah.
And with SGA being out right now, it kind of makes sense for them like to be like, okay, let's just play him a little bit, see how he does. He's very smart with what to do with the ball. Just trying to get a shot back is just the key. And like he just knows what to do on the offensive end of the floor when it comes to like running a show.
I mean, OKC's also in this place too, where it's like, what the hell are you going to do with all of these picks? Like, it's cool to say you have like a million picks and all these things, but you can't take that many players in every draft, especially when you have a young team already. It's like, what are you going to do? There's no pathway for them to play. You're not going to be able to sign all these guys to extensions at the same time anyway. So this makes sense. Like, use these picks on players that you think can actually help the team like immediately. So I like it. I like it for OKC. It made sense too. I did think the Daryl Morey comments were a bit odd. The like kind of kicking the guy on the way. I thought that was weird. Like if I was a player kind of like either on his team or something could sign with him, I'd just be like, all right, man, like that just felt a little bit unnecessary. It was just like very almost like gleeful, like, oh, we really feel like we're selling high. And Jared McCain. It's like, I don't know. That was just kind of a weird look to me. But he's done some weird stuff for the last few years, so I get that.
Yeah, Maury's always rubbed me the wrong way. Even since his time in Houston. So I don't know. I get his understanding of like how to build a team, but it never made sense to me. Sorry, I understand what his thought process is, but it's not something how I would build a team. That's my rephrasing on that.
Sure, yeah. And he also just is like has very much like the tone of like, I'm the smartest guy in the room and I know
And I do not get along with those kind of guys.
it.
Anyways, there is something happening this weekend, and it's called the NBA All-Star Weekend, Adam. Does my tone of voice tell you how excited I am about this weekend?
Yeah, yeah. This is such a shame because there was a time in my life where I loved this weekend, and I would
Yeah,
go to a friend's house and we'd stay up and watch this and get food, and it was just like this really cool weekend. I do it every year, and yeah, and look, this is not going to be one of those like, oh, back in my day it was better podcasts, but in this particular thing, the NBA All Star Weekend definitely used to be a lot better.
mm-hmm.
The dunk contest, there wasn't as many dunks done, so we didn't have like. I get that. Like, it's just like we've done so many things that it's like at some point there's not a lot of new
Right.
things to do. 3-point shootout, I think is still pretty fun. I actually enjoy that, and I will watch that this year. I'll just watch it like on YouTube. Like I won't sit there and like tune in live. Like I'll just once they put it up
Right.
on YouTube, watch it. The game obviously is nowhere near what it used to be. I think the last like fun game we had was 2020 when they did the first year they did the Elam ending, and the fourth quarter of that was awesome. And they played to 24 because Kobe had died the month before. That was, if people go back and watch that, it's like amazing basketball.
Yep.
Like it is really, really cool. I mean, that was 6 years ago now, though. We used to get a pretty good All Star game every like 3 or 4 years. I don't know, man. I just the game. I mean, I do appreciate at least trying something new. I mean, maybe this will get guys to play hard, especially if the world team comes out and just like kicks the team, like the USA team's ass in the first one. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it's a broken thing. Like I get why they do it; it makes money. TV company pays for it, but it's a pretty broken product. The All Star Weekend.
Did you see how many content creators they are having come out and just be a part of the weekend all 3 days?
Yeah, that's miss me with that. I mean, good for them, man. Get your money. Like like that's not my problem. It's just like that kind of like we gotta appeal to the youth, like thing is just like I don't know.
It makes no sense to me. Like I don't get it because it's like you're gonna have 40 different perspectives on every event, and it's like, great, I'm gonna watch it live on TikTok from this guy's perspective or this guy's perspective. I don't know. It's gonna be annoying to me throughout the entire thing of it all. I'm with you. Like I loved the Rising Stars game when it was just rookies versus sophomores. I loved that. Like the Tim Hardaway versus Deion Waiters game will forever be written in my mind.
Yeah, that had some fun moments. That game over the years,
Yeah, there have been some bad ones. Don't get me
for sure.
wrong. I will. I used to love the like whenever they would have the stars from different cities, like the
Mm-hmm.
all time guys come do like some of these shooting contests. That's fun. I don't mind the skills competition when it wasn't a freaking bracket and it was just like every guy goes once, and it's just like, here's your time. I agree with you. The 3-point contest is my favorite thing every year. That's the only thing like I care to watch, and I'll probably go watch it on YouTube, like you.
Well,
Dunk contest.
Yeah, go ahead. Dunk contest. Finish on that. Yeah.
Dunk contest. I understand people getting annoyed that stars don't do it. We haven't had stars, but people always go back to when Jordan was doing it. Yes, Jordan did it within his first 4 or 5 years, and then after that he was like, I'm done. In the 90s, we had some stars, but then we had, no offense to D Brown, Celtic good guy. But like I can't say star or great, but he was doing it, and that was a fun like dunk contest. But he's not a star by any means.
Right.
I think there's some fixes to that whole situation, but I don't know if you can actually implement it. The game to me, truthfully, I don't think there's a fun all-star game in any sport right now. Like
Right.
I think that's the thing. It's not just an NBA thing; it's sport-wide. Hockey is, I guess, a fun all-star game. But that's really about it. And
I
like
see. I don't even
outside of
think that because like they're not really hitting, so it's like it removes
yeah,
that jeopardy of it, you know. So like, no, you're right. That this is kind of the point. Is like the All Star game in general is dead. It was a really cool thing at first when it's almost like people like didn't know better and they weren't getting paid so much. Like it was just an exhibition, but it was like, oh, but like this is not much different than like just my regular game that I play. It's this now in all sports. It's so well. I mean, football they don't even play football anymore. They just do flag, but it's so different than a regular season game. It's just kind of like offensive to like people who care about like competitive basketball. It's like this is just not like even Adam Silver last year was like just visibly pissed off when he like gave out the trophy and all that stuff. And it's like, all right, we got to make a change to this. I don't know. Try this world thing. If it works, great. I mean, I'd be fine with like doing away with it. They're not going to do that because it's like even if it's just like absolute garbage on the court, like it still makes some kind of money for like having the weekend and having it on TV. But at some point, it's like it's not worth it looking bad, and the news cycle being for 2 days after the All-Star game when there's no NBA games until like the Wednesday or Thursday after, like how bad the All-Star game sucks. That's negative publicity for the league, like I don't think they need that right now. There's plenty of other negative things people can glom onto. Maybe the game will be good. I want to give it a chance. I will give this world versus like I'll record it and I'll start it late because I'm not sitting through like the nonsense in between and like the the
oh my
content
god.
creators and whatever, like, and I also just want to sit through commercials, but I will give this format a chance for like that first like mini game that they're playing. And if it sucks, then I think I'm done.
Oh, catch me even watching 1 second of that first mini game, I would be shocked. Like I'll just wait to see what your all's reaction is to it. Like if Evan or Aaron or anyone else is watching it, one of my 3 other NBA chats, I'll turn it on if anyone says anything good about it. But
That's a good way to approach it.
I'll also say this, and this is the only thing I'll dump on like for the NBA is its All Star game. You and I have things that we like to like say here's what we can fix with the NBA. That's totally fair. I also just want to clarify there's so much good basketball on that I just would rather watch that. I just would rather watch like so many other actual games than
Like
All
just a
Star
night of
Weekend.
good games. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and I get that there's those teams that are tanking. That's fine. You can avoid those. And on nights when it's not Thursday night, when there's only 3 games going, there's at least 1 or 2 other games you can watch. I get it to those people who are annoyed by that. But honestly, I get that the All Star game is a good time for people who want to have the break and who need the rest, like the teams that need the rest. Make it a freaking rest week. Just say, hey, here's the
Like,
NBA
yeah,
bye week,
like just
and
a week off. Yeah, exactly a week off. I agree.
I would be totally fine with that. From a Wednesday to a Wednesday, be like, hey, here's our week off. Here's when NBA content creators or NBA podcasters, writers, whatever, you can either take your week off or do like whatever you need to do, like to get mentally ready for the backstretch of this year and in the playoffs. Like, or yeah, we'll get into it, but another time. But I think this is just like a great time for the NBA to be like, hey, here's the bye week, and then be done for a week, and then come back. Everyone's like rested. There's less likely chance of an injury. Not that the guys go super hard during All Star weekend, but there's still a chance for injury. Avoid that opportunity for it, and then that way people can just rest and not have to worry about it. So,
Yeah,
um,
this. I mean, because obviously for guys who are not in any of the festivities this week, this weekend. It is a week off, right? So like Aaron Gordon, who needs this week off like badly. He's a great player who like is a borderline All Star in other years, and has done the dunk contest. Obviously, he's been involved in this before. But like, I bet you he's like, man, thank the Lord, I get a week off, like just to
right.
rest, recuperate, recover, like. And that's gonna be so much better, which should be a lesson to us all that maybe we shouldn't have so many games and back to backs and all this stuff because we're like, oh, they just need like time off, and then the basketball will be so much better. It's like, yeah, it would be like what a crazy concept. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'll give the game a try. I'll watch the 3 point shootout on YouTube after it's done, and I will give the game a try. That's what I'm gonna do this weekend. But it's like that's only out of like nostalgia. Like I want to just give it a chance. And the World versus USA thing, it could be cool if the world comes out and goes really hard and makes the U.S. guy, because that's what's going to happen. The U.S. guys will not go hard. If the world team goes hard though, and like Wemby's just dunking every play and Jokic getting them wide open looks, then there may be some pride that kicks in. Like, okay, like let's actually try here. So I do think the players deserve a lot of the blame here. I don't like. I get it. I get like, it's like not like cool to look like you're going that hard, and that's so lame to me. Like I think that like kind of too cool thing. And then maybe that's why the 3-point shootout is always good, is because you can't be too cool in a 3-point shootout. Like you have to like really try and like shoot the ball normally, or else you're gonna get exposed. So that's maybe why that contest endures, because you can't just like play it cool. The skills contest you can just like dick around. The dunk contest you can just like not show up. Like I mean all that stuff is you can, and the games obviously you don't have to try that hard, but the 3-point shootout, like if you're not actually trying, you're not gonna get all the shots off and you're gonna look terrible. So I like that you actually have to try and compete in that one.
I would also just say, here's my rule for any of the competitions: you have to have played at least 10 NBA games that year
Oh,
to
okay. So
make
we
it
differ
count.
on this. We differ. I think it's cool that Dame's in it. I like that.
You okay? That's good
I
for
do.
you. I think it's kind of weird that a guy who hasn't played it all this year is in it. That's
It, I mean, if it was like just some random dude, I would agree. But like it's Dame,
sure.
like it's like I think that's cool that like, hey, I'm not game ready, but like I'm shooting, I'm doing like I can do this. Like I think that's kind of cool. I mean, it's a little bit odd, but I think like once he's on the floor, it'll be like, oh yeah, Dame, like this is great. And he's gonna be we're his first time we'll see him back in a Blazers jersey. That'll be kind of cool.
That's fair. Okay. More so, I'm talking about like dunk contests. Like, listen, Mac McClung pulled it. I
Uh,
mean, he won so many dunk contests. I get it. Can we not have just G League guys, like one or two G League guys a year? I mean, I get it. No one from this, I don't think anyone from this year has like been a mainly G League guy. Robinson for Miami at least I've seen him live twice, so I can't say that I know who he is. Um, but I don't know. It just feels like I feel like if you're gonna promote like some of the top talent, like make it the guys who are in the like NBA mostly more than anything. So
yeah.
I get the Dame thing. It's not, if no one was gonna do it and Dame wanted to do it, sure, go for it. I guess that's just my own annoying old man thought. But I think the NBA should just make it a bye week and let it players rest, because you talk about Aaron Gordon. My first thought is Jaylen Brown, who has carried so much of the weight for the Celtics this year. And like I'm like, could you use a week off, please, sir? Just can you get
Sure.
yourself healthy? Because you got your teammate, your best buddy, and Jason Tatum, who's about to ready to come back in March. And I just would like you to just be ready for whenever that happens, please. So Adam, the mindset that I've gone to with all these different videos of Tatum practicing in Maine I've just gone wild. My wife bought us
Getting
tickets.
closer. We're getting
I
closer.
My wife bought me birthday tickets to go to Milwaukee to see the Bulls. I mean, to see the Celtics play the Bucks on March 2nd. And I'm like, I did the math and I looked. March 1st, the Celtics are in Boston to play Philly. And I was like 2 days before Tatum's birthday. I'm like, huh. I wonder if that's the first game back. He comes back on March 1st, gives him a month left of the NBA season. He's like, "Hey, my first night back, I'm just going to drop 30 on Joel Embiid's head." That would make me very happy if that were to happen.
But then if he plays in that game, he's not gonna play in the back to back the next night.
You know what? That's fine. I just would like to see him in the building. Listen,
Okay,
my
so
luck to see
what if the
Tatum
first game
is.
back was Milwaukee? I mean, how amazing would that be if that's the one you're at?
I would love it. I just don't think it's likely that his first game back is a road game.
Yeah, he'll do it at home.
I think, yeah. Unfortunately, I think it'll be home. But no, I am. The thoughts have run through my mind of I'm not trying. I'm not going to say them out loud on a podcast, but I'll just say that I have ran so many things through my head about how good this team could actually be when Tatum comes back. So that's you get the gist, but I could go longer
Hey,
for this team.
I'm looking forward to it.
Um, you and me both, my friend. Adam, you spent a weekend in mostly southeast Texas, seeing a lot of different sporting events, basketball, but levels of basketball. And we wanted to kind of talk about just like high school, college, and NBA level of basketball, but I kind of wanted you to share your experience throughout it all, and also just like break down what you thought of the games.
Yeah, so I've got a good buddy. Shout out to Caleb Spoon. He coaches at Katy High School. He's their kind of varsity assistant, and they've got a pretty good team this year. I think they were a little bit, they didn't know exactly what the team is going to be this year because they lost a couple of good players from last year's team, but they've been really solid, and they've locked up second in the district. They're going to be in the playoffs in Texas, and that's a big deal. That's a really strong area for basketball, the Houston area in general, and they're kind of just west of Houston. I mean, yeah, Houston has produced just tons of really good players. But so the basketball scene in Houston is incredibly strong. And so, yeah, I got to go to two of his varsity games. On last Thursday night, I went to the Rockets and Hornets game in Houston, obviously. And then Saturday night, I went to the Texas A&M versus Florida college game, obviously, in College Station, which is about an hour and 20 minutes from where I was in Houston. So um, it was really cool to get to see over the course of 72 hours 3 different levels of basketball, and like within their levels, all those teams are pretty good, right? So I saw like
Mm-hmm.
playoff teams for Katie, like, and the teams they're playing are probably going to be playoff teams, one of them at least. um A&M and Florida. Florida's defending national champions. Still pretty good. And I don't watch college basketball, so I don't know much about these teams, but they looked awesome in the game I went to.
Did you
And
see the
A&M has
seven
been
nine guy on Florida's bench?
it's unreal. When he was shooting around like for the warm ups, I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's crazy. I mean, they're huge anyway. Like their starting lineup was massive for a college team. So, and that guy didn't even play. Um, and A&M is a decent team that has got a chance to make the tournament. So, and then obviously the Rockets and Hornets. The Hornets, that was part of their win streak. They won that game. That made it 8 in a row. They then got to 9-0, and then or 9 in a row, and then they finally lost. Who they lose to? Who broke the Pistons in the fight game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Pistons in the brawl game. So yeah, it was really cool to see, and I think what stood out was it's always, and I do this myself. I a lot of coaches, especially like high school coaches and people who work with youth, kind of do the whole like kids like don't watch the NBA, like you'll create bad habits. I go the opposite way. It's like this is the best. These people are the best in the world at what they do. You may not be able to jump as high or run as fast and stuff like that, but you can learn from like the little tricks about how they get open, and what footwork they use, and how they get shots off quickly. It's like every other industry you learn from the very best. So like I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna sit there, if I'm gonna sit there and be an engineer, and I'm just like a entry level engineer, who do I go learn from? The very best engineers. It's like, why would we not do that in basketball? So what amazes me is how much
Right.
trickles down from the top level into the other levels of basketball, and how the game can, the players obviously aren't anywhere near the same level from each thing, but it looks relatively similar. Like there's a little more ball pressure now, like across like the whole basketball world. Obviously everyone's shooting more threes at every level. So all of that is just like kind of really interesting to see, like in a really stark, way, just over the course of like 72 hours. But I saw something. I've been going to basketball games for 30 years now. 35 years old. I've been going to, high school, college, NBA games since I was 5. Um, A&M started this game 1 for 27 from the field. I have never seen anything like that in any level of basketball. 1 for 27. It was unbelievable. The
Let me
atmosphere was
let me
awesome.
let me tell you one quick thing. SEC basketball can be so much fun. There's such great talent. But holy crap, for there are also teams that like you're like, holy shit, what are you doing out here? Because it's not like they not I did watch that game. After you told me you were going, I was like, I'm just gonna watch this game. Not all of them were bad looks. There were some
No,
crappy looks in the game that they were just
no.
like having, but a lot of them were like your normal looks.
Yeah, it was wild. They were 0 for 12 from three, I think, to start, or maybe even more than that. Might have 0 for 13. They shoot a ton of threes. About half their shots are threes. And it's Bucky Ball. I know a little bit about the coach. Obviously, and people talk about him, to research on him, and it's a ton of pressing and a lot of threes and play fast and all that stuff. And that's cool. He doesn't quite have the personnel to do it probably exactly how he wants this year. But I can see the vision at least. And then Florida, on the other hand, just looked like a well-oiled machine and were just massive. So they were just killing A&M on the boards. And it ended up being just like a really like anticlimactic thing because the atmosphere is a blackout. Tons of students there. I have a bunch of kids I used to coach, whether it was last year or 10, 12 years ago. I was with kind of some former players and some friends, which is so funny because like they're all some like one of them's like 30 now, and it's like he's just a friend. But I coached him when I was a kid basically, and he was a kid. So it was really cool to reconnect with
Right.
people and just kind of spend some time in a place where I had really fond memories. But the game itself was very anticlimactic. So that was probably my least favorite of the games I went to. And so Katy High School, the two games I went to, they won both of them in overtime. So those were both like great. I mean, they were low
Oh
scoring
yeah.
and kind of a slog offensively, but they were exciting. One of them they had a bucket with like 8 seconds left to send it to overtime. It was fun. It was it was a good kind of weekend. And then Charlotte looked amazing against Houston and just punked them. And the Houston atmosphere continues to disappoint me every time I go.
They are a sad sack of fans in Houston for the Rockets. It is truly, if you can feel how much Texas cares about football in that one city. Although I feel like Houston Texans fans also arrive late to their games
Yeah,
too.
it's an across the board
But
Houston apparently except with the Astros. That's the one that like everybody gets up for.
I've been to a game at Minute Maid. It's a blast of a stadium. I want to go back, and I want to also go to the Ranger Stadium because it looks incredible there. So, gotta knock both those off the list. But speaking of knocking stadiums off the list, Adam is Adam. We speak. I'm glad you had a blast with your trip to Houston, trip to go see a bunch of different games. But you're about to go on another trip, and it's a much longer trip, duration and like distance.
Yeah.
You will be doing you and your brother Austin, the hosts of Johnson Magic. If you have not listened to that, go listen to that. They are doing 8 games in 7 days across the Midwest and Southwest of the United States. And you're starting in Chicago. You're starting up here in the land of Michael Jordan, and you're going to go to the Madhouse on Madison to start it off. We'll do Chicago, Milwaukee, and Chicago, all in two days, 3 games, and then
Yeah, I
you.
have the whole list here. Do you want me to just give you everybody the games?
Yes, go for
Okay,
it, please.
yes. Okay, so and the genesis of this trip too was we basically just wanted to come see you guys because we're in a group chat together where it's me, you, Austin, my brother, your brother Evan, who I coached back in the day, and then our friend Aaron, who is your college friend. Did you ever live with Aaron?
3 years we were roommates.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, yeah, so college roommates, who obviously now works for the Bulls.
Right.
We I can reveal that, right? Is that okay?
Yeah. You're good.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, you can clip that out. And so we have. I have never met Aaron in person, but we've been in this group chat where we talk every day, and we have for like Austin and I figured it's over 3 years now that we've had this really rolling.
It was July of 2022 when the first initial like all-time draft group chat was put together. Aaron was not a part of that, but it was not too long after that we were all put into a group chat together. It would have been December of 22, I believe.
Okay.
That I think the 5 of us were put into a chat because I think it was around that time that we had you on and maybe had Austin on not too long after that.
Yeah, so we talk all the time, but I've never met Aaron in person. Austin's never met you or Aaron in person. So we were just like, man, we got to figure out a way where we can go to a Bulls game, hang out in Chicago. You obviously now live in Chicago. We'll figure it out. So we tried to do something last year, it didn't really work out. So it's like, okay, finally we found this weekend. And then, with what you already mentioned at the start of this new podcast that Austin and I have, Johnson Magic, the guys that are helping us with that, they were like, is there any way you can kind of make that into more of a trip? Look at some other games around the area and go from there. And I was like, well, you don't need to tell me twice. So I went into just planning mode. And I always kind of dream big first on these trips and see what's possible and then kind of, narrow it down from there. And this one is just working out perfectly. So like you said, so we start in Chicago. So Austin and I will drive from San Antonio to St. Louis. We'll stay a night there. We're picking up your brother the next morning. We're driving from St. Louis to Chicago. This is, next Saturday, 10 days from now, as we record. Yeah. That night, we've got Bulls and Pistons.
Yep.
The next day is our 2 games. Because how are we going to do 8 games in 7 days, right? There's got to be one day where we can do 2 games in one day. We've got the Bucks and Raptors in the afternoon. So we'll all drive to Milwaukee together. Not too long of a drive, about an hour and a half. Drive straight back down to Chicago. And we've got Bulls Knicks that evening in Chicago, obviously. So
it's Derrick Rose bobblehead night, too.
And it's Derrick Rose bobblehead night. So we're very excited about that. Yes, we're hopeful we can be one of the first few to get the Rose bobblehead. Okay, then the next day, you stay. You'll go to work. Wish you could come with us, but Austin and I are going to. We have a friend, a lifelong friend of ours, who's from San Antonio, huge Spurs fan. He is flying to Chicago on Sunday. He's hopefully going to go to Milwaukee with us, and for sure going to the Bulls game with us. And then he's driving with Austin and I to Detroit the next day for Spurs Pistons. The Monday night. The next day, we're waking up and driving to Toronto. And we're doing Thunder Raptors that night, staying in Toronto 2 nights. The second night, we're doing Spurs Raptors. So Austin and Braden's, our favorite team, we're gonna see them twice on the road on this trip, which
Jeez.
we're very excited about. The next day we'll drive back to Chicago, and we're going with you to another game, Rockets Blazers. Um,
Bulls Blazers.
Bulls Blazers. Sorry, Rockets. What am I saying? I had them on the background. So yeah, Bulls Blazers, and then the crazy. This is the crazy one. That's like we're gonna have to really kind of hustle to make it. We're gonna have to go to sleep, get a decent amount of sleep, and then Austin and I will wake up early the next morning, say bye to you, head down to Oklahoma City for Nuggets Thunder the next night. Um, and then after that game, him and I are driving down to Dallas, staying with a friend. It's about a 3 hour drive. So we'll get decent night's sleep in Dallas, and then we head home back to San Antonio. So over the course it'll be 8. So basically, the way we're pitching it is 8 games, 7 days, 5 different cities.
It's gonna be a blast. It'll
Cannot
be
wait.
crazy. It'll be crazy, but it'll be so much fun for you guys. I am excited to be a part of it. A few of those games, over half of them, half of the games I'll be a
Half of them,
part
yeah.
of.
Yep, 4 of the 8. Yep.
Gosh, yeah, that was crazy. It'll be a blast. But we will, and then along with that Sunday night when they're here in Chicago will be the first time Adam and I will be recording in person.
Yep.
We might have Austin on as well, just to kind of recap the first 3 games that we've gone to, and then go from there. But exciting stuff. It's gonna be a blast. It also worked out that my wife is working that weekend, so she's not going to need to be. She's not going to be here when all of us are here. So it'll be a great time. But we're excited to kind of document it all. You can follow us at Hooper's Almanac as we kind of document the trip. You can also follow Adam and Austin at Johnson Magic on all the socials as well to keep up with all the stuff and the trip as well. But super excited about this incredible adventure. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. We're excited to kind of connect with you more and produce more different content. And then teasing for something that's coming a month away. There's going to be a lot in March that's going to be on the website that's going to be updated. I will tease that I am creating during my bye week of the NBA. I'm going to be making my back half of the season rankings or last half of the season rankings. And I will be doing that and having that up on the site. And then Adam and I have a massive project that we are working on with a bunch of different people. Super excited to collaborate with them, but won't be giving too much away about that one. That will be up by the end of March, if not by the start of the playoffs. So excited about that as well. Thanks everyone for listening. Go listen to us on Spotify as well, and also on YouTube. And to the people who are listening to us on Amazon Music, I have some major questions and so many concerns. But I'm
But we
grateful
appreciate
for
it.
your listen.
Yes,
We are
appreciate
grateful for your listens. But thanks everyone for listening. Go Celtics, go Spurs. And Adam, I would like to say this in a heartfelt way because I'm concerned for their franchise because they are down by so many points to the Jazz right now. Go Kings because we got to get something good going there in
it. We
Sacramento.
do.
Stop trading with the Bulls to start, and then we'll figure out the rest as we go.
The beam team very far away.
The beam team has been beamed far away, in a better way to put it. But thanks everyone for listening. Have a good one, y'all.